So this talk is infinity has been dealt with wrongly in Einstein's relativity. And so Einstein has been very influential and has influenced people to be wrong about a lot of things in physics, especially about relativity. Einstein did not present a complete theory for relativity, that left others to do add-ons. Einstein did not say how infinity was to be dealt with in relativity theory, that left others to deal with infinity incorrectly. So what I'm doing is looking at a video by this physicist, Sabine, and the video is this one where she's talking about faster than light possible or not. And so Sabine states the usual belief in relativity that information cannot be transferred faster than light speed c, and says she thinks that is wrong, and by light speed c mean in vacuum free of the influence of fields and so forth. The issue that I want to pick up on is infinity, but that is a long way into a video, so I have to deal with the build up to that first.
But wait, let me guess. You've heard that it's impossible to send information faster than the speed of light because physics? Yes, I've heard that too, but I think it's wrong. And in this video, I want to explain why. Is it possible to break the speed of light limit? That's what we'll talk about today.
So Sabine has a previous video on faster than light, which she seems to change her mind for.
The idea that the speed of light is a limit comes from Albert Einstein's theory of special relativity.
Yes, it comes from Einstein's relativity, but I think that is a misinterpretation. The problem with Einstein's relativity is that a lot of things in Einstein's writings are vague in it, and that leads people to give lots of add-ons. The idea that light speed c is a limit is one of those add-ons, and like a lot of those add-ons is false. Anyway, she continues.
Yes, this guy again. The speed of light plays a special role in his theory because it's the only speed that's the same for all observers. And just to make sure, I mean the speed of light in vacuum.
So what she said was not too bad. However, she goes on to speak of the speed of light in medium. As far as I'm concerned, what we call vacuum is not a perfect vacuum, so it acts like a type of medium. Or alternatively, in vacuum there is a medium of light called ether, and there's two types of spelling for it. This is what Wikipedia says to give a rough idea of what I mean. So there's a thing called quantum vacuum state, i.e. from quantum mechanics point of view, there is no perfect vacuum of total emptiness, and the quantum vacuum has something in it. Sabine seems to be talking from a point of view where she is ignoring quantum physics, and what is non-quantum physics is usually called classical physics, i.e. of relativity. She seems to be taking the point of view that what is called vacuum is total emptiness, and when there is no total emptiness, there is a medium. It makes what she says next a bit confusing.
The speed of light in a medium, any medium, is slower than the speed of light in vacuum, and it depends on how you move relative to the medium. But the speed of light in vacuum does not depend on how fast you move, because there's nothing for you to move relative to.
So first of all, have to make allowances. That is, she is talking from an idealised case of ignoring quantum effects. But when she says there's nothing to move relative to, that is false. Motion and relativity is taken relative to inertial frames of reference and other frames of reference. It is where many of those who believe in relativity go wrong. It's not just Sabine going wrong. If talking about light speed, need to say what it's relative to, and usual thing is to say it moves relative to absolute frame or ether frame, etc. So ether comes back as a reference frame. I have dealt with this in other videos.
I know this sounds about as exciting as flossing teeth, but it has some unexpected consequences.
Those unexpected consequences are a result of wanting to mess up on the issue just mentioned of taking motion relative to a frame of reference. I have dealt with this in other videos, so skipping over where she's talking nonsense based on her misunderstanding of relative motion as relative to frames of reference. After talking a lot of nonsense, she says that nonsense is confirmed by the Michelson-Morley experiment, which is false. She is mistaken about that.
This is what was confirmed with the famous Michelson-Morley experiment, and it has a very odd consequence. You can't catch up with light. It doesn't matter how fast the train is, light will still move away from it with the speed of light.
So that is false, as explained about this in other videos, but basically as per Norton, I'm giving a short summary of what I've said previously. We have this professor, John Norton, and in his paper, this one, Einstein's Investigations of Galilean Covariant Electrodynamics, he points out, this is what he says, even today, this point needs emphasis. The Michelson-Morley experiment is fully compatible with an emission theory of light that contradicts the light postulate, i.e. you don't have to deal with the nonsense that Sabine was saying. You don't need special relativity's light postulate to deal with the Michelson-Morley experiment, and many physicists falsely say otherwise. It is one of the tricks of people such as Sabine, who believes in Einstein's relativity, to misinterpret results of experiments to fit with their misinterpretation of relativity, i.e. to not accurately report what an experiment means, but instead to say it conforms to their bias. Skipping on to the next bit of her video, she explains the usual type of reasoning that leads people to believe Einstein's relativity means can't go faster than light c.
We can quantify the difficulty of catching up with light by asking how much energy it takes to accelerate an object. Let's suppose the object has a mass m. This mass corresponds to an energy which is given by the most famous equation ever, E equals mc squared, where E is the energy and c is the speed of light.
And the usual thinking is that need infinite energy for a material object to accelerate to light speed c. I can't have infinity, so therefore cannot accelerate to speed c. Skipping over her maths about that and going on to her conclusions about that.
This means if you want to accelerate an object until it reaches the speed of light, you need an infinite amount of energy. Another way to put this is that the only way you can move at the speed of light is when your mass is zero. Even a keto diet isn't going to do that for you. This is where the idea comes from that the speed of light is a limit that you can't cross. But this argument has some issues. The first issue is that it doesn't mean faster than light travel is forbidden in Einstein's theory. Indeed, his theory is entirely compatible with faster than light travel. The problem seems to be instead that you can't accelerate from below the speed of light to above the speed of light. It's more like a barrier than a limit.
It's the second thing I want to focus on about infinity. All that other stuff I dispute, the maths, etc.
The second issue is more a peculiarity. It's that on all other occasions, when physicists see some quantity go to infinity, they'll tell you that infinity is unphysical and a sign that the math doesn't properly work. Big Bang, black holes, non-renormalizable effective field theory, whatever. If there's a singularity, they'll say it's a mathematical artifact and not real. They don't say that in this case, and I think they should.
That's the relevant bit. The physicists are making a mess of how they deal with infinity. Sabine goes on to a third issue and other things which don't want to deal with because most of those things lead to me complaining. Yes, I disagree with her, and I want to deal with this issue of infinity. The physicists are making a mess of their mathematics. They don't deal properly with such things as infinity. First, a reminder of the mathematics. This is the mathematics that's usually given for special relativity. It's the Lorentz transformations, and here it's called Lorentz-Einstein transformations. And these equations are usually interpreted as those of special relativity. And these equations are usually interpreted as being Newtonian physics, and that is the Galilean transformations. We could argue about that interpretation, but let's go with that interpretation for now, so that the Lorentz transformations are usually said to reduce to the Galilean transformations at low speed, and that's usually interpreted as saying that the equations of special relativity reduces to Newtonian physics at low speeds, and that is false as per the following paper. This is the relevant paper, Two Myths About Special Relativity by Ralph, and he got that published in 2005. He points out the Lorentz transformations do not reduce to the Galilean transformations when the ratio V divided by C is small, which is i.e. when speed V is small, and that's contrary to what is taught, i.e. students are taught to believe in false mathematics. Thus, people who believe in relativity usually believe false mathematics, i.e. are bad at mathematics. Thus, in the case of infinity, these people who believe relativity and along with that believe false mathematics, they go on to believe that when the infinity appears, that means no material objects can go faster than c, which is just another false belief added to their already big collection of false beliefs. What the infinity means is to stop you using the Lorentz transformations and its associated equations for energy, etc., and go back to Galilean transformations and their associated, more commonly known, Newtonian equations. Thus, a material object can go faster than light speed c. You think of Einsteinian point of view dealing with relative time and hence needing clock synchronization, which is commonly called Einsteinian synchronization. It means that when getting to infinity, that should stop doing things that way, the Einsteinian way, and go back to Newtonian absolute time, etc. Then have speed greater than c in the Newtonian context. Thus, in summary, what we have is most physicists are bad at mathematics, so that when it comes to handling that mathematics, interpreting what that mathematics means, they do it all wrong. In the example given, they deal with infinity all wrong. What they think the mathematics means is all wrong. If you look at Einstein's paper on relativity, such as this one, which he published in 1905, supposed to be the first one that he published on special relativity, Einstein does not say how infinity should be handled in the context of Einstein's relativity. It's one of the many things he omits to tell us. Thus, those who believe in Einstein's relativity have to add on to relativity as to how to deal with infinity. And it is the case that when they do an add-on, they usually do it wrong because they are bad at mathematics. Hence, they're making numerous false mathematical claims. As a note, I also complain about the way Einstein's 1905 paper has been translated into English, but see that in other videos. So thank you. That's the end of this video, pointing out how physicists mess up their mathematics. In this case, they mess up their handling of infinity. Thank you and goodbye.